Hello and welcome back to Over Here, Over There, your podcast across borders. I'm Claudia Koestler and this is
Dan Harris.
And look at that backdrop. It's Bari, Italy. When I heard a couple of days ago, Italy, an election of the Pope, and it's gonna be an American, I thought, Dan, what have you done?
Well, I think the vote was rigged. It was rigged. So
And the cat is out of the bag. It's not you.
It's not me. It's not me.
Well.
But you know what? They made the right choice. And they made the right choice. No, I think it's an excellent choice in the end, and the correct choice. And we can talk about why. But he's a very brilliant man. Speaks many languages. Has spent a lot of time in Peru. I guess he got a second citizenship in Peru. So he's very good for South America. They very popular. Obviously for North America. So you got two continents right away. Mm-hmm. And he's liberal. He's a liberal pope in a way. But strangely enough, that didn't seem to bother the conservative members of the papacy.
Okay.
So there's a nice balance to it all. Also, kind of, although the Catholic Church won't say this, a counterbalance to right-wing extremism, maybe even to Trump in the White House.
But how political is it to be a pope? Is that going to be just a microcosm for Catholics and a moral instance? Or can he actually influence politics, especially the US ones?
Well, I think it's political just to get out of bed nowadays, but it's always political no matter what religion you're talking about. So, this mixture of religion and politics. But it certainly has an influence over the morals and values across Christians across the world. I think it is very significant and will have an impact. And does he have power? Yes, he has a lot of power. Is it sometimes direct or indirect? Well, it's mostly indirect.
Mm-hmm. Well, you are a Catholic. What do you expect the church is going to do? Is your local priest going to directly get messages from the Pope that will be distributed all over the churches?
You haven't gone to church in a while, have you?
I was raised Christian, but I've kind of, I have to confess that I kind of lost faith. I was raised Protestant, actually, so I'm not Catholic.
Well, my view about priests, local priests, is they're like little popes.
Okay.
They rule their patch. So will it affect them? Well, certainly they followed the divine teaching coming down from the Pope. Mm-hmm. But will it affect it significantly? No. But the fact that he's liberal will affect like women's rights in the Pope and in the church, certain issues about priests and the abuse scandal, what's going to happen there. But also major political issues like climate change or wars, Ukraine and elsewhere. Popes do comment on that and pray for it. So it is very significant. It is one of the major roles in the world. Having a pope who is on the liberal side of things will play a big part in international relations.
You say liberal, but how liberal can you be as a Catholic pope? I mean, is there some sort of limit? Because they have hardly changed in 2,000 years, and that is, some say, their success story. How liberal is he going to be, in your opinion?
I don't know how. It all depends. We'll see what his negotiating skills are within the Vatican. Obviously, the Vatican has its bureaucracy, and how much he can deal with that, how well he can deal with that, we'll see. That is really to be determined. I don't know, but the fact that he brings that perspective, like Pope Francis did, to make a change from the past, it's continuing along Pope Francis's line of philosophy. We'll see. I'm sure he's going to continue with a lot of initiatives that Pope Francis had. So it's good that there's some continuity there. But there's one other significant element that happened over the past week since we last reported, and that is the UK-US trade deal.
Well, a big word, isn't it? Trade deal.
Yeah, trade deal.
Is it really a deal, or is it something that Trump likes to say it, but it's more of an agreement and we will only see down the line what really happens?
The latter. Well put. I think it's an agreement, and because you don't know, I think the worry is that will Trump hold to his word? Will he follow the what was signed and agreed to, or will there be further changes? And I think that's what both sides are just looking at, especially the UK. Will this be abided by? And really the benefits to both sides, number one thing is access to each other's markets. It probably amounts to about 15 billion in a trade boost between the U.S. and U.K. But to the U.K., it's probably about 2 to 3 billion in its coffers. Is that significant? Well, it's good. You give me a pound, I'll take a pound. But if you say 2 to 3 billion in the greater scheme of things, no, it's not. Is it a replacement for? This was supposed to be a significant deal that would help counterbalance being out of the EU. Is it doing that? No, certainly not. Will it do so in the future? At this point, with that deal, no, I don't see that kind of scale happening through this deal. And the other thing, from an American point of view, are you happy with this deal? Trump has trumpeted that this is significant. Well, he wasn't getting the deals or announcing deals around his tariffs. He comes to the White House or sits in the White House and says, I've got a great deal with the UK. He promotes that. Is it significant? Well, what's really important is China. What are they going to do? The UK deal is very small in comparison. So Americans are really wondering what's going to happen with China. The UK deal does not move the dial so much for the UK consumer. Is it important to both sides? Symbolically, certainly. But there's so much more work to be done.
Well, you mentioned China, but what about EU? Is that going to be important to the US?
I think that yes, and it's a very good point. The British hope is that this will help when they then turn to the EU, because the UK is looking to reset that relationship with the EU, now that they have at least some kind of agreement with the United States, and that's mostly steel, cars, and aluminum. They still have the 10% tariff, though, on British exports going to the United States. But at least it's an agreement. And when they turn to the EU, they now can focus on how do we relate that deal, how can we access the EU market in a more favorable term. Maybe a little bit more freedom of movement, but certainly with exports and goods, what can be done? And so that gives them probably a little bit more leverage, or at least more to talk about. So it looks possible, well, potential there.
Thank you very much. Very insightful. I hope you find it too. Thank you very much. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
I didn't get a chance to ask her questions, but I'll do that next episode.
Yeah, come back. More to come, of course. Like and subscribe and tell everyone about this podcast. We need you. And we want to see you on YouTube, on our other platforms like overhere.org. And of course, you can find us everywhere where there are podcasts. Thank you. Cheers. Bye. And enjoy this view for one more second. Come on.